Surprisingly good weather. Good afternoon, everyone. Don Cricky with Bob Trumpy. The weather projections here yesterday for today's game were for football in a car wash. Winds up to 50 miles an hour with heavy rains, and so far, no wind and no rain, so that is an upset early, Trump. Both coaches are focusing on emotion coming into the game. Marty Schottenheimer of the Browns says you can be sure the game will turn on emotion. Jerry Glanville agrees, but Trump, he's concerned about how emotional his Oilers will be.
Yeah, Jerry Glanville said that all week long his players' chins were on the ground. And as of last night, he didn't think his team was really in the game. Said he was going to have a meeting late last night with the ball club, going to take a can of fuel in there. Hopefully somebody will light a match. He's not sure exactly emotionally how his team will play today. That's a lousy emotional state to be in this playoff game in front of 80,000 screaming Cleveland fans.
Glanville says that nobody plays as hard as we do. We're going to find out today, but he does get a break with the weather. They came in here last week. It was 8 degrees below zero chill factor. Today at kickoff, 40 degrees and not a lot of wind to contend with. There's Marty Schottenheimer, the man who runs the Cleveland Browns, and the Oilers have won the toss and they will receive to start the game. Schottenheimer, in his fourth full season as head coach of the Browns, has had a playoff team every year. 3 divisional champions, a wild card this season. Dropping back deep now for Houston, Lorenzo White. There is Matt Bahr ready to kick off. And this kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. So the Super Bowl tournament set to begin as Matt Bahr is into the ball. Hits a high spinner downfield. And here comes Lorenzo White, the rookie from Michigan State. Breaks it across the 20, and Lorenzo White is out to about the 23-yard line. So the Oilers will go on offense, 1st and 10. With Warren Moon, their Pro Bowl quarterback. He'll back up Boomer Esiason in Honolulu in January. Running the offense, Mike Rozier went over 1,000 yards running the ball. Alonzo Highsmith from Miami of Florida averages 5 yards a rush. The receivers are phenomenal. They're both undersized, but big play after big play. They've caught 360 passes between them, Hill and Givens, over the past 3 seasons. No other combination in the NFL is close to that.
And of course, one of the things the Oilers want to do early is see if they can run the ball. Last week, they averaged 1.6 yards per carry, and Houston likes to run the football.
Well, they go to the power I set. The tight end Williams comes in motion. Crowd noise is unbelievable, and the Oilers have to check off. This Cleveland crowd can take it right out of the game. The opposing team is the running play by Allen Pinkett is shut down. Junkin, an inside backer, number 54, shot the gap and made the stop. 3 starting linemen for the Browns all started their NFL careers with other teams. A very sound front 3. Linebacking has a lot of speed on the flanks. Clay Matthews is one of the best in pro football. Grayson is a blitzer. Mike Johnson leads the team in tackles. All-pro cornerback Hanford Dixon is back today, starting after missing last week's game with Houston. 2nd down and 13. Now it comes up for the Oilers. They're standing with a crowd noise that is just unbelievable. Warren Moon is unable to run his offense.
Houston takes a timeout only because of the crowd noise, Don. That timeout taken by Houston. Warren Moon was in the shotgun, and this is what's considered the quiet end of Cleveland Stadium. The fans are a long way away from where the players are, as opposed to down in the other end zone. So if Houston is already having trouble with the shotgun in their initial series, they may have to consider just flat getting out of it for the day.
Last Sunday, the Oilers took the Browns fans out of the game early when they built that big lead. Now on 2nd down and 13, Moon tries again from the shotgun. Tennyson is his center. He gets time. He's got an open man. Now it's picked off. The Browns pick it off. Mark Harper has the ball, and he is back inside the 35-yard line. Now that's Felix Wright with his 6th interception of the season. Wright and Harper converging on the ball. It's Wright that gets it, and now with his 6th interception. The Browns do to the Oilers just what the Oilers did to the Browns early last Sunday, intercepting Strock 3 times in the first quarter.
On the shotgun, Moon has trouble hanging on to it. There is no receiver close. And Felix Wright has made a career of intercepting Warren Moon, not only in the NFL, but also in the CFL. He's had 4 interceptions against Warren Moon. We just had a graphic on Moon's numbers. 6 touchdowns against Browns, now 16 interceptions.
So the Browns go first down and 10 with Don Strock at quarterback. Kevin Mack is in his backfield. They play fake to Mack as Strock swings it out. It goes to Mack near side. He's been out with injuries, and Kevin Mack booms ahead for very close to first down yardage. He has missed parts of 9 games. All are part of 9 games this season. A gain of 7 yards on the play. Strock at quarterback. Bynum and Mack are the starters. Langhorne and Slaughter the wide receivers, coming off big games against the Oilers last Sunday. Ozzie Newsome the veteran tight end. The offensive line with Farron, Bolden in at left guard, Ricocheted, Fike, and Risen. Risen's been a Pro Bowl player. Only high draft choice in that whole group was Ricocheted, who was a second rounder. Second down and 3 coming up now, almost 4 for the Cleveland Browns after the interception by Felix Wright of Warren Moon. Lost footing by Kevin Mack. And the knockdown will be made at about the line of scrimmage, so it'll bring up 3rd down and about 4. Ray Childress will be going to the Pro Bowl, the left defensive end for the Oilers. Richard Byrd and William Fuller, the other 2 down linemen. Meads, the right side backer, blitzes virtually every play. Grimsley is the leading tackler for the Oilers. Lyles is the emotional leader. Good secondary. Bostic's been a first-team All-Pro player. The Oilers think Donaldson, their free safety, is one of their best players. Loss of about a yard. 3rd down and almost 5. Ball positioned at the 28-yard line.
Houston with 10 guys at the line of scrimmage, Don. Blitz coming.
Throw and a catch for a first down. Webster Slaughter comes out the left flank, and here's a penalty marker on top of the tackle. Patrick Allen, who was victimized often last Sunday, was the man they went at again on the post pattern. Donaldson was on the tackle, may be late.
That's either a 5-yard penalty or a 15-yard penalty against Houston on top of the reception.
5-yard penalty. First down.
Jerry Seaman, the referee, as you see them go right back at Patrick Allen from.
Nice move by Webster Slaughter, too. When you have a field that's kind of slippery, it always favors the receiver because he knows where he's going. And in the pregame, Paul and Ahmad mentioned that Houston wants to play that man-to-man bump and run coverage. First slant pattern completion.
And it's 1st and 10. Slaughter beat Allen, you remember, last Sunday for the winning touchdown. Handoff. Bynum, not much there as he gets down close to the 15-yard line on a first down carry. Result gain only about 1 yard. Meads made the tackle.
He was coming on the blitz, Johnny Meads, 91 from the outside. Well, they got to Kevin Mack just as the ball is handed off to the running back. You see him coming from the outside, and he just gets there before really anybody can lay a glove on him. Kevin Mack, 34 at the left side of the screen, tried to get him, and that really disturbed the run.
So the Browns send Langhorne now wide to the right. Slaughter to the left. In the first half last week, the Browns ran on first down virtually every time and didn't go anywhere. In the second half, they passed on first down and came from behind. Run. Bynum on 2nd down and 11. Tough Ernest Bynum tracks right at the Houston defense and takes it down close to the 12-yard line, where Steve Brown and John Grimsley made the knockdown.
See the way the Cleveland Browns have gotten here. 2 years ago, they had 2,000-yard rushers in Mack and Bynum, but because of the injuries to Mack this year, missing all or parts of 10 games, they've had to go with the pass. And you see the Cleveland Browns in this Super Bowl tournament rather unique in that they throw it more than they run it.
Thought Strock Trump had an interesting observation, and they asked him how he made the comeback happen. He said there's no 20-point touchdowns, and you're about that far down. You try to score one, then build on the next one. And with patience, he brought the Browns to victory, and now the Browns misfire. They didn't get it off within the allotted time. So a delay of game call against Cleveland changes the down and yardage from 3rd and 6 to 3rd and 11.
Delay of game. Offense. Still 3rd down.
Cleveland is the only team in the American Conference that's made the playoffs the last 4 years. Only 2 in the NFC have, the 49ers and the Bears.
Of course, this is their 6th trip to the playoffs in the 80s, coming off 3 straight division championships. Marty Schottenheimer, not only the head coach this year, also the offensive coordinator.
And now Strock aligns in the shotgun. Weathers is in the game, and so is Brian Brennan. Strock gets time. He's going for the end zone. Weathers is there, but they overshoot. So Clarence Weathers, running the out pattern, had a step on the defense. Domingo Bryant, he really hurt Strock last week with 2 interceptions, 1 return for a touchdown.
Watch Brian Brennan, sure-handed 3rd down receiver. You can see Richard Johnson, 23, gets a hold of that shirt. Make sure that he's got control of Brian Brennan. I guess that's considered the initial chuck, which is allowed.
This will be a 33 to 34-yard field goal attempt by Matt Bahr, who's been kicking very well. 9:48 to go in the first quarter, and the first points are on the board as the Cleveland Browns capitalize on a turnover. The interception of Warren Moon by Felix Wright subsequently turned into a field goal by Matt Bahr. 3-0 Browns. Home and on the road. They like it at the Astrodome, where they're 7-1 this season, but they've had problems on the road. 3-5, have not won here, as Bob Costas pointed out in the pregame show, since 1981. Their regulars haven't. In Cleveland Stadium, their replacement team won here last season during the strike. Warren Moon's had his problems with the Browns, but he's having his best year, going to the Pro Bowl. There's the man who victimized him on that first possession, Felix Wright, having a standout year at safety for the Cleveland Browns with the interception that was turned into 3 on the Bahr field goal. Winds are coming up now, Trump. The ball just blowing off the kicking tee.
Expecting wind gusts 40 to 50 miles an hour sometime late today, which would really change around this football game.
Line drive kick downfield. It'll be tough to handle. As coming up on the ball is Pinkett, and he is destroyed. Allen Pinkett is flattened. A little runner from Notre Dame. Tony Baker came down and got him. Another running back for the Cleveland Browns.
Don, did you see that kick? At the end of it, when it hit the ground, it just stuck in the mud. It didn't bounce because it stuck, and we've got a penalty flag too. Watch the ball. See the way it just sticks. We got a holding call against Houston too, so they're going to get backed up, but no bounce out of that ball whatsoever, and that really put the Houston Oilers receiver there, Allen Pinkett, in jeopardy. So they get a bad kickoff return and a penalty on top of it, and bad field position now once again for Houston.
Kevin Mack, a big part of the Cleveland offense, their best runner back today. Hit on Pinkett is a holding call against the Oilers on the return, so they come out misfiring. An interception of Warren Moon on the Oilers' first possession turned into the 3-0 Cleveland lead. And now, with the crowd against them, the Oilers have to go the long field from their 8-yard line. Mike Rozier is in as a wide receiver at the lower left-hand portion of your screen. Handoff. They go to their power back. Alonzo Highsmith is cut down by the Cleveland defenders. Golick, the nose tackle, was the first to get a shoulder on him. Oilers are the 4th best rushing team overall, and they run the ball the 3rd most in the NFL. They eschew the pass, go to the run. It's worked very well for them. They average just over 4 yards a carry, 4th best in the NFL. Browns are near the bottom in running the ball. They were 24th in the league in rushing. Nobody ran last week on a frozen field here in Cleveland. 2nd down and 9. Throwing a catch as Allen Pinkett comes out of the backfield and fights his way out to the 19-yard line. And he has a first down for the Oilers. Elusive Allen Pinkett, who's the all-time leading rusher in Notre Dame football history, came in as a third-round draft choice, getting more and more work this year, his third season.
Don, closest man in coverage was Will Hill. You saw Hanford-Dixon 29 slip as he's trying to break for the receiver. We saw Kevin Mack slip a little bit on offense, and now Hanford-Dixon slipping a little bit.
Browns lead 3-0. Oilers have the ball. First down and 10 at their 19. Lorenzo White, who led the Big Ten in rushing 4 straight years at Michigan State, over 4,500 career yards there. And more impressively, he averaged 4.6 yards a carry for the Spartans when they knew he was getting the ball every down, the defenders.
Don, so far, Cleveland, their defensive line is doing a great job. Look, just standing those people up. So there's no place for these running backs to go. Now, Rozier's run it. Highsmith has run it. And now they've got Lorenzo White running it. When in fact, it's the guys up front who are not getting it done to this point. This is a very, very versatile defense that Cleveland has. A lot of movement, a lot of great foot speed.
They show different fronts every down, as you see. Second down and 6 for the Oilers. Pitch back. Pinkett breaks it for the moment, and Allen Pinkett, with that great burst, gets ahead close to the 34-yard line. A gain of 12 yards on the play. So while the Oilers didn't say it, Trump, apparently Rozier's ribs are bothering more than we were led to believe, because he's just been in one play as a decoy at wide receiver.
One thing the Houston Oilers offense likes to do is trap. You see Bruce Matthews, 74, coming out on Clay Matthews. Pennison, 52, gets Clay on the ground. Bruce finishes off, and Pinkett gets out there for a 12-yard pickup. That trap worked beautifully.
Now Lorenzo White is in as the I-back for the Oilers on first down and 10.
Hand signals once again because of the noise.
5 seconds to go, as you see. They get the play away. Moon swings it out to Lorenzo White. But he'll not go far, out to the 33-yard line, where inside linebacker Mike Junkin, number 54, got him. Junkin was a high #1 draft choice of the Browns 2 years ago out of Duke. Had injury problems, has started to come on late this season.
Houston does a great deal of audibilizing at the line of scrimmage. And so far, in this first 7 or 8 minutes of the first quarter, Moon having a great deal of trouble getting the audibles that are allowed him by Jerry Glanville. It's a big part of their offense. If they can't use it, they're stuck without one of their best tricks.
Second and 9 for Warren Moon and the Oilers. Pitch back Lorenzo White. And the Browns come calling with 3 linebackers shedding the block to get at him. Dave Grayson and Clay Matthews, the outside backers, knocked him down. Lorenzo White is a noted bad field runner. He has enormous feet, 14.5 triple E. He can get some traction on a bad terrain.
Big assist to Sam Clancy, 91. It was not a good block by Bruce Matthews, 74. That allowed Clancy to get out there, and Clay Matthews makes the tackle. Maybe the best outside linebacker or inside linebacker in the AFC.
Jerry Glanville says of Matthews, you look at a game film, he jumps out at you. Third down and less than 1, and they're going to put it up. Throw downfield and a catch, or third down and 10, excuse me, for a first down out to the 46-yard line. As Stephen Braggs was defending on the play, it was a 13-yard gain to Drew Hill.
Hill, another 1,000-yard season for the Houston Oilers. This time he's working on Hanford-Dixon. This is zone. You can see Dixon moving out, and Drew Hill just stops inside, finds the dead spot between Washington and Braggs. Moon puts it right on the money.
We have 4 minutes and 29 seconds to play in the first quarter. The Cleveland Browns lead the game 3-0 on Bahr's 33-yard field goal that followed an interception of Warren Moon by Felix Wright. Oilers in possession a second time. They started back at their own 8, and they're moving the ball here. Here's a swing pass. Alonzo Highsmith breaks it into the open field and gets down to the 47-yard line of the Browns. An 8-yard gain on the play. Junkin was again on the stop for Cleveland, Trump.
And one of the ways you shut down a pass rush or slow a blitz is to come with the screen pass. That's twice now we've seen Houston come with the screen. Both times it's worked and worked reasonably well. That time to Highsmith, and if you can just trick the defensive line for a split second, you can get a running back out there for a quick pickup of 8 or 9 yards.
Highsmith was the third player picked in the entire draft out of Miami of Florida. Has not been happy with the limited amount of work he's gotten. Second down and 2, Houston. Pinkett rockets into the gap and gets ahead for a first down. The Oilers might have the best offensive line in football. The starting guards, Munchak and Bruce Matthews, will both be starters for the AFC in the Pro Bowl. Dean Steinkuhler, the right tackle from Nebraska, won both the Outland and Lombardi Awards as a senior for the Huskers.
This Houston Oilers team has 11 first-round draft choices, and 3 of them are on that offensive line. You just mentioned them. Munchak, Matthews, and also Steinkuhler.
Warren Moon, who was going downfield to his wide receivers last Sunday, has been hitting his backs a lot today. And the Oilers are moving the ball on the second drive. Free ball. Warren Moon finds it, but he loses about 7 or 8 yards. Bob Golick was quickly in on him, number 79 for Cleveland.
That ball seemed to go right through Warren Moon's hands as if he was not ready for the snap. This is a mistake in a game like this that you can't afford. No, he's ready. Oh, Pennison can't get it off the ground. He never got the thing up. It slipped out of his hand. Boy, is that lucky for Houston that it bounces back there for the quarterback to pick it up. Pennison has a glove on one hand, and his snapping hand does not have a glove on it, but it slipped right out.
Tough down now for Warren Moon. Second down and 17. Wrong side of his intended receiver at the 40-yard line. Drew Hill couldn't make a play on the ball. Mark Harper was right with him, 23. And so now third down and 17 arises for the Houston Oilers. Drew Hill, 85, having a phenomenal year. He caught 72 passes. He'll start in the Pro Bowl for the AFC. 10 for touchdowns. Had almost 1,200 receiving yards this year. His 9th year out of Georgia Tech.
He and Givens once again combined for the most receiving yards in a season. They were second last year. Neither one of those kids is very big. Hill about 5'9", 170. Givens maybe a little smaller, but they'll catch it over the middle.
They're down at 17. They're looking at him now. Here's a long ball and out to Curtis Duncan, who's knocked out of bounds at about the 33-yard line. Frank Minifield covering on the play. Duncan, a very fast wide receiver from Northwestern, ran it down and out as Minifield had backed off, and a good throw by Warren Moon.
Don, we mentioned the Cleveland Browns don't like to play zone, but watch the safety drop here. You'll see the corner over the side drop out, and then the receiver just finds the dead spot in the zone. Cleveland does not want to play zone, but with the bad footing, you can see the defensive backs dropping off, and the out pattern is there for a big pickup. This is not a defense that Cleveland prefers to play. They want to get up there and bump and run and intimidate the receivers as best they can.
Two minutes and 4 seconds to go in the first quarter. Cleveland Browns lead the game 3-0 on the Matt Bahr 33-yard field goal. 14th play of this drive coming up. The ball will be positioned at just inside the 33-yard line of the Browns.
This drive started at their own 9-yard line. They have done a spectacular job on this particular drive of really mixing it up. The screen, the pass to the middle, recognizing the zone and going with the out.
They get the first down on the spot. So the Oilers moving the ball very impressively on the second drive, which started at the closed end of Cleveland Stadium on the Oilers' 8-yard line. High back, deep back, Lorenzo White. Up back is Alonzo Highsmith as they get set to run to Lorenzo White gets it inside the 30 on the first down carry down to the 29-yard line. Felix Wright was on the tackle on the play.
And they caught the Cleveland Browns in a blitz. You can see that this offensive line is a lot bigger than the Cleveland defensive line. But that time they run right at Clay Matthews. He's got an inside blitz, and they get the ball outside.
1:35 to go, first quarter. Second down and 7 coming up. Oilers had great disappointment last weekend. At the start of the weekend, they had a chance, they thought, to win the AFC Central. Then the Bengals came back and beat the Redskins in overtime, and the divisional title was not theirs. Cincinnati won it. And they had a chance for the home field by beating Cleveland at a 23-7 lead and couldn't hold it. Option run by Warren Moon on a second down and 7 carry. He's down close to the 27-yard line. Felix Wright came up from the free safety to hit him.
Michael Dean Perry did a good job too. Jumped inside the offensive right guard, and he was really there to make Warren Moon. Grabbed a hold of his shirt. Moon couldn't really run the option the way he wants. I'll identify Michael Dean Perry here. He's sitting right over the guard. Matthews, watch him jump inside the block, and that's what really ruins the option. See there? He's right there to grab a hold of Warren Moon's jersey. Moon can do nothing with it. Picks up a couple of yards, which is a very good play.
Haywood Jeffries goes on the left flank. Duncan on the right flank. As they keep Hill and Givens inside and swing it out to Drew Hill, and he's inside the 20-yard line. And on a 3rd down and 5 play, the Oilers are ahead for a gain of 10 yards and a first down.
Don, does this offense look similar to what Miami runs? Backs out of the backfield, wide receivers running short routes. In the second to last game of the regular season, Miami got to this Cleveland defense for 400 yards, and I think they exposed this defense a little bit. Houston last week did the same thing. A lot of things out in the flat, the short patterns, and it's really gotten them down the field today, Houston.
This is a very, very important drive for the Oilers after an early mistake that led to Cleveland points, a field goal. The Oilers now possibly driving towards a go-ahead score. Pitch back, Lorenzo White at 210 pounds, cracks again inside, this time the 15-yard line, cutting back right at the linebacker, Junkin and Johnson. It's a gain on the play of 2 yards, 2nd and 8.
Again, a nice little trap. You see the 74, Matthews pulley kind of leaves the picture, and then Junkin coming from the inside. These are very, very mobile linebackers as the quarter ends. They make a lot of tackles away from the play.
And that'll do it for the first quarter. Browns 3-0. With Bob Trumpy, this is Don Crickey back at Cleveland, where we've been waiting for bad weather, and it just got here. Dry and no wind at the outset. Now the winds that could gust to 50 miles an hour are starting to sweep in off Lake Erie. There was serious concern that Cleveland Stadium, that is normally on Lake Erie, could be in Lake Erie before this one was over, with an inch of rain forecast. Rain is falling, not that heavy, but the winds have really come up. Second and 8. Houston trails 3-0. Pass goes, and Allen Pinkett finds a way, and he goes in. Allen Pinkett, who at 5'9", 185 pounds when he was at Notre Dame, was one of the 3 strongest players in the entire team, uses that strength here to break tackles, and he cracks in, and all of a sudden the Oilers rally on a long drive, 92 yards, and they go in for the go-ahead score. They lead at 6-3.
In 17 plays, Pinkett breaks the tackle of Frank Minifield, considered one of the best tacklers on the team. Watch this now. Minifield's got to make that tackle. Pinkett, as you said, with that great leg strength, breaks it. Junkin misses him, gets it into the end zone on a 2nd and 8. Boy, with the wind blowing now and the rain, that's a big touchdown for Houston.
He knows where the end zone is. That's his 10th touchdown, Allen Pinkett. And Zendejas, kicking in very poor conditions now, delivers the extra point. And so with just 7 seconds gone in the second quarter, the Oilers on a long drive rally to take the lead, to the joy of Coach Glanville.
The AFC wildcard game is brought to you by Dodge Cars and Trucks. On the street or off the road, it's the new spirit of Dodge. By AT&T, the right choice. And by Coors Light. There's no slowing down with a silver bullet. It's the right beer now.
Oilers have just gone 92 yards for the go-ahead score. Allen Pinkett getting a swing pass and crashing in, and it's now a 7-3 game. Houston, second longest drive of this season for the Oilers, officially 91. They went 98 for a score and a win over the Eagles.
That's got to hurt Cleveland's feelings. This defense is not a defense that historically has given up long drives in 88.
Zendejas set to kick off, and he delivers downfield deep. It'll now come out, taken 8 yards deep in the end zone, and so the Browns will elect to go from their 20, 1st and 10. It is 7-3. The Houston Oilers have taken the lead, and if Jerry Glanville was concerned about some emotion in his team, Trump, he certainly got a lot there. They fueled the tank with a 91-yard, 17-play drive.
A very gutty drive, too. They had some 2nd and 8s and some 3rd and longs that they converted there, and I repeat what I said just earlier, that I think Cleveland felt coming into this game that the Houston Oilers couldn't drive the ball long on them, that they probably would try to go deep. So that's got to hurt Cleveland's feelings a little bit, and now the emotion back on the side of Houston.
Well, both these teams are good at coming from behind, particularly the Browns have come from behind in 3 of their last 4 games to win. Last Sunday down 23-7. Winds are starting to pick up even more, and the rain's getting heavier. So these early points could be very large before this is over. First down and 10 now for the Browns. Loose ball. Oilers have it at the 16-yard line. Richard Byrd, the nose tackle, shot the gap. And so there was a huge... Look at these Oilers on the sideline doing these weird dances to celebrate a turnover.
Jerry Glanville told us last night one of the things that his team needs in every game is to bring their personality to the stadium. They want to hammer that line of scrimmage. You see that Don Strock never gets the ball from the center, Ricocheted. Byrd is the nose tackle, 71, shoots right by Ricocheted to make the fumble recovery. I couldn't really tell whether Ricocheted didn't get it up there or Strock moved out. There's no question now. Again, Cleveland kind of stepping on its own foot, just as they did last week against this team.
So the Oilers, who scored on a 17-play drive on the long drive, now go to Allen Pinkett, who turns the corner, and Allen Pinkett's inside the 5, and again he goes into the end zone for a touchdown. With breakaway speed, Allen Pinkett turns the corner, outruns the cornerback, and gets a 16-yard touchdown run. And the emotion has been taken out of this Cleveland crowd of almost 80,000 as the Oilers on consecutive possessions have put touchdowns up and lead 13-3.
That is a beautiful cutback. This play is designed to go right. He's running right at Clay Matthews and then gets back outside. It appears someone loses containment. The outside guy, Sam Clancy, 91, the defensive end. You're supposed to contain that run in the Houston Oilers sideline. They recognize what's coming. Domingo Bryant, Richard Byrd, the guy in the fumble recovery. 6 points, Houston.
And Zendejas hits the extra point up and good. And so with 14:38 to play in the first half, it is 14-3 Oilers. The Cleveland dilemma, with Houston scoring on its last 2 possessions to go up 14-3, has been compounded now by an injury to Don Strock, their veteran quarterback, and that's Mike Pagel on the right. He too missed much of the season with injuries, but it looks like he's going to come in, Trump.
He has not played since after the Seattle game. Bernie Kosar inactive, cannot play. So if Pagel, just activated this week, goes in there, had a real bad shoulder injury, and he's just beginning to feel the adhesions in his shoulder break up a little bit.
Zendejas kicks off. Glenn Young and Gerald McNeil are back deep. This is McNeil backpedaling, and he won't bring it out from 8 yards deep. Oilers pride themselves on special teams. Their motto is hit the beach.
Don, if we go back to that fumble recovery, that's obviously where Don Strock got hurt. Now, Ricocheted is the center, and it appears to me he does not get the ball up to the quarterback. See how short it is? And then in Strock, when he turns around to reach for the football, lands on his wrist right there, his right wrist. And that may have been where he hyperextended it. He's still being attended to, and Pagel is in the game.
Mike Pagel out of Arizona State. Big, strong, 6'2", 220 pounds. Had a chance to talk with him for a long time before the game about what they might want to do. They're looking for a blitz and to go to that hot area when they can, and when they run the ball, they're going to try to bounce to the outside. Oiler linebackers play way off the ball, as you'll see, and they run to the line of scrimmage at the snap. Watch him come up. As they play fake now, and Pagel does swing it out into the open end to Feiner, and he's ahead across the 25-yard line, out close to the 28.
Well, this franchise in 1988 has gone through some quarterbacks, haven't they?
Well, they lost Bernie Kosar in the opening game for 6 weeks with an elbow injury against Kansas City. Danielson broke his ankle and was out for the rest of the year in the next one. Next game, Pagel, as you mentioned, Trump had the shoulder injury. Now Kosar's gone out again, and Don Strock Injured on the last series on the fumble.
He's going in for x-rays too. Don Strock is too. He's on the sideline with the cape on, and he's heading in for the x-ray machine.
Handoff. Mack doesn't get much as John Grimsley runs him down, inside backer. On a 2nd down and 2 play, there's going to be a loss for the Cleveland Browns.
And you mentioned the depth of those middle linebackers. Jerry Glanville likes the first step at the line of scrimmage. Attack. Grimsley, 59. Big toe Smith, Al Smith, 54. Very, very aggressive defense. And now with a lead, slippery footing, and a quarterback who hasn't played in 10 weeks, they're going to be coming out of their shorts blitzing this team.
It happened fast in this game for the Oilers. They scored their 2 touchdowns in 15 seconds elapsed time on the clock. First came at 14:53 of the 2nd quarter, the next at 14:38. 3rd down and a long 4 coming up. Pagel throws a strike. Nicely done. It's picked up by Langhorne as he crosses the 30. And he'll be ahead for a first down.
Don Pagel's done a great job in these first 2 passes. He's beaten a blitz both times. Threw the ball to Biner out in the flat. This time gets the ball to Langhorne, makes the correct read. You see the blitz at him. Langhorne turns outside. Bostic not close enough. A reception. The relief quarterbacks for this team have been extraordinary in 1988.
They've had to be. This team getting in the playoffs with a rash of injuries that's mind-boggling. Now to yet another quarterback, Mike Pagel. Quick drop, nothing there, and he dumps it over the middle nicely. Again, he goes to Langhorne, but trying to cut back, he loses some yards. Was ahead for a gain of about 5 and lost 3 cutting back, so it'll be 2nd down and 2. Al Smith, inside backer, number 54 on the stop for the Oilers.
Now, the problem that Mike Pagel is going to have is a problem that every quarterback who's been out for a long time has when he comes in the game. Everything moves so quickly around you when you're in a football game as opposed to practice that at times it's just a blur. And you have to get used to that as quickly as you possibly can. And with a blitzing team like Houston, he's got a lot of people to look at.
Slaughter is wide left. They'll be looking at him soon. He had caught 6 for 136 yards last Sunday, and he did it against the man he's up against now, Patrick Allen. He's looking, and he goes to Slaughter, but he waited, and Slaughter saw the defense converge on him, and they keep going after the hit. So Pagel wanted Webster Slaughter all the way, but pump faking, he allowed the defender some time to close.
He ran the slant pattern. You see Houston dropping off in zone. He's asking for the ball, and Pagel's late getting there. Eugene Seal, 53, comes underneath. Donaldson, 31, makes the hit. And there's always pushing and shoving after every play here. And when these two teams meet, 3rd and 8 now for Cleveland.
Nice to be on the home field when you're calling the shotgun, able to hear signals now as the crowd's down. Here's a throw, and somehow Clarence Weathers catches the ball. And Weathers breaks it across midfield on a 3rd and 8 play, and he's down to the 48-yard line, and a marker down also Trump there.
18 yards on the catch. I thought the ball was going to be intercepted. Steve Brown was the man in coverage. Look at Pagel looking around. He's desperate here. He's trying to find somebody, and then Bostic is the man in coverage, almost tips it away. Weathers stays on his feet. Little guy with great ability. Pagel does a great job. Sean Jones, 96, right in his face.
Personal foul.
Sean Jones has really changed the whole defense of the Oilers on passing downs. He has constant pressure on him, but there's a face mask call.
It's a big one, too, 15 yards.
That is measured by degrees. It can be 5, 10, or 15, depending on how severe the infraction according to the official. So that must have been ruled intentional as the ball is positioned at the 32-yard line of the Oilers.
Here's Weathers carrying the ball. You can see him hanging on to the face mask all the way down. Marty Schottenheimer is yelling and screaming, and they get the major penalty.
Cleveland is never out of the game. These guys are in the playoffs for the 4th straight year, and they've done it year after year coming from behind. They trail right now 14-3. Handoff. Breaking it open is Ernest Biner, and he's down to the 22-yard line. A first down carry is good for 10 yards.
Jeff Donaldson, the free safety. Boy, this is a team that plays on emotion. This is a great job up front by the offensive line. It'll come to our left. You see him pushing and shoving. They cut off the nose tackle. Doug Smith, 99, and Bynner up through there quickly. Nice move. The longest run of the day. Brings up 2nd and 1.
Browns came back a week ago in worse conditions than this. The rain has really stopped now. Winds are still kicking up.
Speaking of kicking up.
Kevin Mack turns the corner, and this big back from Clemson, who's been to the Pro Bowl in 2 of his previous 3 years in the NFL, gets ahead on a 2nd and 1 for a first down, and now school's out.
Flags again. Jeff Donaldson, 31, is up there against Webster Slaughter. The play is already done. Who do they get? The first guy or the guy who retaliates? Slaughter has that cast on his left wrist.
There is one tough customer. And there's another.
He has a plate in his left forearm.
He missed 8 weeks with a broken arm. Well, he had it all back when he came back, though. He came back in the Miami game, and then last week caught 6 for 136, including the winning touchdown.
Now, we can't hear Jerry Seaman's microphone, but it's against Webster Slaughter. That's a 15-yard penalty against Webster Slaughter. So it'll be a first down and 25.
Penalty came after the first down run by Kevin Mack.
Necessary roughness, number 84 offense, after the ball was out of bounds. 1st and 25.
It's always the retaliator, isn't it?
They always get the second guy. You got to keep your poise out here in games like this, though, because this is what Houston wants to do to you. Get you out of your game a little bit and have you make dumb plays like Webster Slaughter just did.
Mike Pagel with the deep drop on 1st and long yardage. He's going downfield, and he makes the connection. Brian Brennan makes the reception inside the 10-yard line. Good for a 26-yard gain on a 1st and 25 play. So a hero week for the Cleveland Browns, and Mike Pagel is laying claim to that early as the Browns start to rally back.
Patrick Allen, Richard Johnson, the 2 men in coverage, and somehow Pagel gets this ball in. Here you see Brennan leave the screen. Now watch, the defensive back has great coverage on Brennan. And Pagel throws it right over the outstretched arms of Patrick Allen, and he makes the catch.
This drive started on the Cleveland 20 after the Houston kickoff. Now the Browns have advanced it all the way down inside the 11-yard line of the Houston Oilers. It's 1st and 10. 1st and just over 10 for a touchdown. Marty Schottenheimer looking at the play sheet that's working. He has really functioned, Trump, as the offensive coordinator since Lindy Infante went to Green Bay.
A lot of people in Cleveland don't like that. But the news for the people in Cleveland is it's going to continue next year, whether the fans like it or not. Schottenheimer will continue to be the offensive coordinator.
It's a long road to Miami for these wild card teams to get there. Winner has to go to Buffalo next weekend in a divisional playoff game. And then either to Cincinnati or Seattle. Straight ahead carry. Bynner, both arms on the ball, protecting against the turnover, and he's down to the 5-yard line. We have as many hits after the whistles we have with it.
5-yard pickup. A good cutback again by Ernest Bynner. His offensive line has been very much maligned in 1988, but in this drive doing a great job. Newsom comes out. Derek Tennell in at tight end. A little more blocking.
Kevin Mack is the setback. They usually, on 2nd and 5, run right when the lead back is deployed that way, and that's where Bynner is, and that's where they're running. Is Mack takes it inside the 5-yard line on a 2nd down carry. He's down close to the 3. Outside linebacker Johnny Meath was on the stop along with John Grimsley.
On his Houston defensive line, really a handful for the Houston offensive line. They're going to try to isolate Richard Byrd and also Grimsley. Watch the way they flow to the ball. Richard Byrd is able to get his head by the center, Ricocheted. That gives Mack no place to go. And then coming from the backside to make the tackle is Johnny Meads. Very aggressive defense at the line of scrimmage by Houston.
Cleveland looks for power blocking. This time the lead back is deployed to the left. It's Fontenot who might swing out. 3rd down and 4. Pagel takes a look, going into the end zone, but he overthrows intentionally. The coverage was there and the rush was on. Oilers were coming at Pagel and they were coming hard.
Pagel did a good job of getting rid of the football. Webster Slaughter is out there on Patrick Allen. He runs the corner route, and if Pagel has time, he may be able to make the completion, but Pagel was certainly rushed by the blitz of Houston.
So the Cleveland drive stalls, and now on 4th down, it'll be a chip shot field goal attempt by Matt Bahr. The hold by punter Max Runniger will be at the 12-yard line, 22-yard field goal. Let's see if Cleveland left early, and it looks like Houston was offside, and that could give the Browns a 1st down.
Absolutely. That's against Houston.
Well, they'll be just short of a 1st down because it'll be half the distance, not 5 yards. They're inside the 5.
That will still give them a 1st down, Don. Now you got to remember that on extra point and field goals, a lot of teams have their players up in a 2-point, so they can move around. Once you put that hand on the ground in a 3-point, you can't move at all. Here's Jerry Seaman with the call, a big one.
False start prior to the snap. One of the guards, repeat 4th down.
The Browns on it.
Now wait a minute, I'm telling you, they got the guard. We got a look right here at the guard on the from behind the kicker, and the guard did not move. Let's look at there. You see both guards. Well, you see the leg move of the guard, but I mean on offense, boy, that is a tough call. That is a very difficult call to make.
But if they made it, it's now official, so the ball is positioned at the 7-yard line with 8:37 to go in the 1st half. 14-3, the Oilers lead. Sean Jones is down, the big pass rusher, the former Raider. Right hamstring. 6'7", 280-pound Sean Jones, who's been a major force in Houston's blossoming pass rush. Coach Glanville gets the Coat Award today.
He's also got a leg brace on his left leg. Got hit last week, as someone in the pregame said. He's got looks like they're massaging a cramp in his leg. Glanville has his knee brace, which normally comes in blue, in black. Look at that. They're massaging a cramp there in his leg. There's Jerry Glanville with the slight limp. May need surgery on his leg. Got hit last week, and
one of his own receivers, Leonard Harris, took him out. Said they used to say I'd never make it when I was coach at Detroit and rode a motorcycle to practice. Glanville said, never thought I'd go down when one of my own receivers got me in warm-ups.
But he did say he hit me good.
And a reminder to our viewers that we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player for today's game at the conclusion of the game. Glanville did not endear himself to Cleveland fans, even though he grew up nearby Toledo. So the good thing about playing in Cleveland is you get to leave after the game.
Oh, another whistle.
A lot of people in the Oiler organization weren't happy about that because they just made a tough situation worse. One thing the Oilers have going for them at this end, Trump, there's no snow up in that dog pound.
Paul McGuire ate all the biscuits, so there's nothing left to throw.
Matt Bahr spins the field goal up and good after the penalty. And so the Browns, with a field goal in the first quarter and one in the second, now trail 14-6. Back at Cleveland Stadium, the Browns team orthopedist, Dr. John Bergfeld, looking at x-rays of the right hand of Don Strock, who went out earlier in the game on a fumbled snap. An injury to his right hand. Bernie Kosar not in uniform again this week because of a knee injury suffered against the Dolphins, and here's how that occurred. On a Monday night, John Offerdahl came up the middle and got Kosar. He worked this week, was able to throw well, but he had problems pivoting on the bad knee, and so they held him out. The kickoff now, a spinner downfield, goes to Lorenzo White. He can bust it, and Lorenzo White takes it across the 30-yard line. The Oilers will start with good field position on this drive. A 20-yard return, and here comes Warren Moon. Brian Washington made the kickoff tackle for the Cleveland Browns.
Game of long drives so far. Houston had it for 9 minutes and 50 seconds and got 7 points, and then 15 seconds later got another 7 points. Herman Fontenot shaken up on that play. And then Cleveland just had a long drive for 3 points.
One major development for the Oilers. Rozier has not carried from scrimmage, but Allen Pinkett has, and he scored 2 touchdowns so far. That time the Browns key on Pinkett. Golick shifted over, number 79, and made the stop. 3 times a Pro Bowl nose tackle. Hairston was also on the play, as was number 92, Michael Dean Perry, a rookie and the younger brother of William the Refrigerator Perry.
Allen Pinkett has averaged 4.3 yards per carry in '88. The Oilers have pretty much gone with a one-back offense, giving it to Rozier, but with Highsmith, Pinkett, and Lorenzo White, 3 quality backup running backs.
Lorenzo White is the lone setback now. 2nd down and 8 for the Oilers, who lead the game 14-6. White. It wasn't a long run, but it was a great effort by the former All-American from Michigan State. A 5-yard gain with tacklers hitting him every step of the way.
On the Houston offensive line doing a good job here of keeping their feet. And then it's up to Lorenzo White to cut back somewhere, find a spot. You see Munchak, 63, getting a block on Mike Junkin. And Lorenzo White just kind of searching around back there, and we've got Big Daddy Hairston down on the ground. They're dropping like flies.
Hairston, a 13-year veteran at defensive end, a longtime Philadelphia Eagle, who came here for a relatively low draft choice. He's been a standout player at right end and one of the team leaders. Strock, the starting quarterback on this injury-riddled team, has gone out earlier today, and now Big Daddy Hairston is looked at. Let's stop the clock with 7:24 left to play in the first half.
And you would certainly think that the Houston Oilers would not feel comfortable with a 14-6 lead, especially after last week.
NFL Live at halftime. Frank DeFord looks at Christmas sports toys. Bob Costas and Don Shula review the first half. Paul and Amato here in Cleveland. Guire's still feeding that dog pound biscuits.
The report on Don Strock is that he has a swelling in his wrist. Not sure that he'll come back. Of course, the bad thing, too, is he may be able to throw, but he also has to take the snap up against that hand. And generally, the snap is very, very hard and can jar that wrist. Keith Bostic on the phone, talking to the defensive coordinator of Houston.
Only one wild card team has gone the distance and won the Super Bowl. That was the Oakland Raiders back in 1981, and one of their big wins was here in Cleveland in a divisional playoff game when the chill factors were in the -20s. Mike Davis intercepted Brian Sutton in the end zone. Raiders went on to beat the Eagles in Super Bowl 15. Moon stands in on 3rd down, and he's swept under. First sack of the game. Mike Johnson, number 59, an inside backer coming on the blitz. So the Brown defense makes a big hit, and the Oilers have to punt from deep in their own end.
Don, this looked like a delayed blitz. Johnson sitting right there. He's looking. He waits till 32. Highsmith looks outside, then comes free. Last week it was Grayson, only Grayson hits Warren Moon right in the chest. Very timely blitz called by Dave Adolph of the Cleveland Browns, their coordinator. And Johnson trying to get everybody fired up on the sidelines. Greg
Montgomery, the rookie punter from Michigan State. The man who will boot it, and the smallest player on the field on either team, 145-pound Gerald McNeil.
Too much time.
Yep, took too much time to get the snap away. So instead of 4th and 11 from the 32, it'll be 4th down and 16.
There's Mike Johnson and Dave Adolph, the defensive coordinator he was just talking to.
Both teams knew this was going to be bare knuckles football coming in. Last man standing is going to win it. Here comes Don Strock now coming out after the x-rays of his throwing hand.
Delay of game offense, still 4th down.
He's not in the hospital.
We'll see if he has a cast on his hand, one of those pressure casts or anything like that.
Montgomery will punt the ball from about his 16-yard line. Another marker's down as Montgomery, a rookie from Michigan State, booms a good one. Here comes McNeil. He's a dancer, and Gerald McNeil at 145 pounds. He survives because you rarely get a clean shot at him. Takes the ball back to the Cleveland 49-yard line.
There's his wrist. Looks like it's taped.
On of 36 yards and a 14-yard return by McNeil. Grimsley was on the tackle.
We've got another flag, illegal procedure against Houston.
Penalty decline, 1st down.
Marty Schottenheimer listening to what Don Strock has to say. If he's not even grabbing a football to see if he can throw it, it does not look good for Don Strock.
Rock around the Strock, a big hit record here in Cleveland. But they can't rally around him right now on the sideline with a bad hand.
By the way, if Pagel gets hurt, you know who the next quarterback for Cleveland is? Brian Brennan.
And he's a wide receiver. Nothing there, so the Brown runner just protects the ball and holds on. Ray Childress comes up to make the tackle right at midfield on a 1st down carry. Ernest Biner saw nothing open up. They talk Trump about the great runners. Not only do they have to hit the hole quickly, but they have to find the hole. And that's not always where you think it's going to be.
Mack has great instinct finding that hole. Biner, I think, is a better receiver out of the backfield than he is a runner, even though 2 years ago he gained 1,000 yards. Mack is coming out. We got Fontenot in there along with Ernest Biner. This is the pass set.
2nd down and 10. Mike Pagel and the Cleveland Browns trailing 14-6. Pass near side to Biner, and a big play by Eugene Seal, number 53.
And another fight breaks out.
There's a warrior. Eugene Seal was part of the replacement team. He had a construction job in Texas. He's been a standout ever since. The Oilers' best special teams player, and he plays a lot in passing downs as the lone backer. Foul signaled against the Oilers.
Glanville told us last night after he had dinner, said unless we get 10 penalties a game, I don't think we play very well.
Unnecessary roughness, number 23 defense, 1st down.
Richard Johnson. This is the most penalized team in the NFL, at one time averaging 100 yards in penalties per game.
Yeah, but Glanville, Trump was saying to us yesterday, when we have 4 or 5 penalties, we never seem to win. When we have 10 or more, we seem to.
Absolutely.
He doesn't know why. Maybe it's they're playing with more emotion, but at any rate, that's a penalty he didn't like to see as the ball is advanced now down to the 36-yard line of Houston. 1st down and 10, Cleveland.
That's offsides Houston. Free play.
Glenn Young. And a wide receiver around, takes it inside the 35-yard line, down close to the 32.
That looked like Johnny Meads was offside, coming on the blitz. Offsides Houston is the call.
An excellent pass rusher. Johnny Meads blitzes more than any other Oiler and has 8 sacks this season, and he's forced 6 fumbles.
Offside, number 91 defense, still 1st down.
So So they get Johnny Meads. Still first down, but a nice play call now for Pagel and the Browns. It's 1st and 5 at the 31-yard line of Houston.
Glanville calls all the defenses. He likes to show one and play another. Never give that quarterback a solid look at what he's about to face.
Oilers bring their linebackers up now. Browns want to run the ball wide if they can. Bynner breaks it right. He's inside the 20, and Byner's not done till he's down to the 15-yard line. Jeff Donaldson finally ran him out with 4:44 to play in the first half.
That's what Cleveland has been lacking in their running game. 88, Langhorne comes back in motion. The man in coverage is Steve Brown, and Langhorne blocks his own man, Derek Tennell. Byner carrying that ball out there on the side. Nice pickup for Cleveland.
Each team has turned the ball over in this game. Oilers did on their opening drive. Felix Wright intercepted Warren Moon. Shortly thereafter, Matt Bahr kicked a 33-yard field goal, and Cleveland led 3-0. Then the Oilers rallied with a 91-yard drive for a touchdown. Pinkett scoring, and then after the kickoff, a fumbled snap from center. Not only lost the ball for the Browns, but also their starting quarterback Don Strock went out on the play with an injured wrist. And right after that, Pinkett was in the end zone again. Now it's a 14-6 game, Oilers. Browns going right at Houston. Good trap blocking. Splits the defensive front of the Oilers. It's a 6-yard gain by Ernest Byner. Jeff Donaldson and Al Smith combined on the tackle.
And I think one of the things that has helped Cleveland's running game is just the threat of Kevin Mack breaking outside. When he's in there and healthy at 235 pounds, has 4.5 or 4.55 speed in the 40, he can get to the corner. And he's also a good lead blocker for Ernest Byner.
Wind is gusting, but there's no rain right now, and the playing conditions remain relatively good. 2nd down. Oilers stack the run as the Browns try to go left. Meads and Donaldson come up on Kevin Mack. Tail of the tape up front with 3:40 to go in the second quarter. Houston with 2 quick touchdowns in the opening minute of the second quarter, both scored by Allen Pinkett. Took a 14-3 lead. Browns came back with a long drive, but stalled and kicked another field goal. 14-6 Oilers.
I think they had the wrong personnel on the field.
That's been a Browns problem this year, Trump.
Cleveland takes a timeout. Marty Schottenheimer has been blamed for it, but the responsibility is the players. You got to tell the right people to be in the game. You practice it all week long. Get in a game situation, and someone's over there getting their legs warm. You know, I wonder if Marty Schottenheimer would be an obvious mistake. Go up to Mike Pagel and say, "Look, Don, this is what we want to do." He's seen so many quarterbacks there in his face this season talking about what they're going to do next. We don't know who is in the game and who is on the sideline.
Now, there have been continuing stories, at least in the media, of possible dissension on the Cleveland team, which nobody in the Browns organization seems to have found. Halftime coming up, NFL Live, as the road to Super Bowl 23 continues here on NBC Sports. Don Shula with Bob Costas at halftime will assess the first half's play. Coach Shula, with his Dan Marino firing all over the field, was able to beat the Browns that Monday night. That's what Houston did early last week. In the first 2.5 quarters, it was all Oilers and Warren Moon throwing.
This is an interesting situation here for Cleveland. At 3rd down and 5. I'm not so sure that Marty Schottenheimer doesn't want a touchdown here. And at 4th down, he might try it if they don't get it on this 3rd down.
This is 3rd and 5.
Blitz.
Blitz comes. Pagel throws into the end zone. He had a man running a post pattern in Webster Slaughter, and he threw the out ball.
Yeah, now they don't have any choice. They got to go for the field goal.
Well, you keep kicking them, you can win a game. If they make this one, and it's not a long one, it'll be a 14-9 game. They were going at Patrick Allen again.
Houston's done a good job. This time you see Robert Lyles sneaking up to the line of scrimmage. He gets by Ricocheted rather easily. And he's there in his face, and Pagel has to throw it away, so Matt Bahr will try either a 27 or 28-yard field goal.
Johnny Meade's 93 at some game last Sunday against the Browns. He had 15 tackles in that game. Robert Lyles, the other side, having a great game also last Sunday. And now the field goal is boomed up and through. So Matt Bahr has tried 3 and hit them all. That from 28 yards, and Cleveland inches its way back into this game after trailing 14-3. The Browns are now down by 5 with 3:19 to play in the first half. Oilers, to get to the Super Bowl, had to go through a Russian winter. Cleveland, then Buffalo, then Cincinnati or Seattle.
Don, the Houston defense has done a good job here. Cleveland's driven the ball down the field twice, and they've kept them out of the end zone. Cleveland's had to settle for 2 field goals. Cleveland has not scored did not score a great many points in this 1988 football season, and had their problems inside the 20 scoring touchdowns. So if there's any saving grace for the Houston defense, is that it's field goals and not touchdowns that the Browns have scored on the last 2 drives.
And you can't underestimate the Browns' ability to come from behind, just as they did in very bad weather here last week when they were down 23-7, rallied to win 28-23. They've won 3 of their last 4, all coming from behind at halftime.
By the way, that field goal by Matt Bahr ties a Brown record for field goals in a playoff game. He's 3 for 3 today.
Bahr hits a high spinning kickoff, and here is Lorenzo White. White takes it out to the 23-yard line with 3:08 to play in the first half. 14-yard return. That's how the Oilers started out, very poorly, as Felix Wright intercepted Warren Moon in that first drive. Browns turned it into a field goal, and he got hot. Took him 91 yards in 17 plays. Pinkett on the payoff end. 7-3 Oilers. They got the ball back quickly on a Cleveland fumble. Pinkett again into the end zone. 14-3. But since then, the Browns have come back to kick 2 field goals, and they've cut the lead to 14-9. From the shotgun on 1st and 10. Moon lets her go deep. Haywood Jeffries comes down with the ball at the 41-yard line of Cleveland. Jeffries, a #1 draft choice 2 years ago out of North Carolina State, had a touchdown catch last week against the Browns.
This is a very well run pattern. Hanford Dixon just coming back from a thigh pull, not able to stay with Haywood Jeffries. Moon puts it up there. Jeffries realizes he's got to go up and get it. Dixon there just a little too late. Big reception for Houston.
Good for a 35-yard hit for the Oilers. Hanford Dixon came off. He took the full brunt of Haywood Jeffries, who fell on him. Another throw and a catch. Same man, Haywood Jeffries, inside the 30. He's got a first down on the run with the ball. He's ahead for a gain of 13 yards. Catch good for 8, the run good for 5, and the Oilers drive on quickly as we're coming down to the 2-minute warning. Two minutes to play in the first half.
That is a 2-minute warning.
Browns coming back, and now the Houston Oilers driving. Christmas Eve on the lake in Cleveland, Ohio. Don Crickey with Bob Trumpy, where the Browns have rallied back. But it is interesting, Trump, that Oiler defense, when the Browns looked like they were going to go in, held them to field goals.
Yeah, that is the big plus for the Houston Oilers. Cleveland's been down there, and they had a chance to score touchdowns, but Houston's given them nothing but field goals. I think the big question is, how much can Pagel do for this football team now, with Strock out and injured with a bad wrist?
Warren Moon triggers a long ball. Jeffries again, and somehow does Jeffries have it? He caught the ball, but he came down inbounds. They're ruling no. He's saying the defender pushed him out of bounds. This guy can play football, though. We haven't heard much about him.
Felix Wright is the man in coverage. They both go up for it. The initial part of the coverage is Will Hill. It is Will Hill that is right there with him. Jeffries goes over him to make the catch. And we're looking for both feet down in bounds. Hard to tell from this angle, but it does not appear that his foot does come down in bounds. Again, another look. Maybe this will give us a better angle. There's one. This is a tough call. I think they're going to review this.
A terrific second and third look brought about the review. Our producer today for NBC Sports is George Finkel. Our director, John Gonzalez. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Michael Weissman.
Now, this one is very hard to tell. The rule is you got to have both feet down in bounds. And what the official upstairs looking at it must determine is if Will Hill 35 is not there, can Jeffries come down with both feet in bounds? That's a tough call. The umpire in communication upstairs with the replay guy.
I hope they can make it. I couldn't.
Yeah, that is a very difficult call to make. He must determine if this is the reverse angle. Did Will Hill force him out of bounds? He gets 1 foot down. That left foot is in bounds. The right foot, I don't believe his right foot is in bounds, but did Hill push him out?
But Hill was making a play for the ball also. He's well within his rights.
But still, you're right. So there's no interference. But when it comes to would he have come down in bounds, that's what has to be determined.
So it goes as an incomplete pass, and it brings up 2nd down and 10 for the Oilers, who lead the game 14-9 with 1:53 to play in the first half. We'll be going to NFL Live at halftime, where Bob Costas and Don Shula, among others, will take a look at the big plays of this first half, and there have been many. The Browns and probably having to mount another come-from-behind victory if they're to get one over an Oiler team that hasn't won here since '81, and Pinkett's been a big reason they're ahead today. With their 2 touchdowns, Allen Pinkett breaks it up the middle down to the 20-yard line. Gain of 9 yards on the play.
On that time, Houston spread the defense of the Cleveland Browns. Then they run the trap right up the middle with Allen Pinkett, and it does a great job. They're trying to move that defense around as best they possibly can, and from behind the defense, you see a good job by Matthews, 74 on Hairston. Pinkett jumps up through there. Brian Washington on the tackle.
Pinkett Trump has now run the ball 6 times for 38 yards and a touchdown. He also caught a swing pass for a 20-yard touchdown. 3rd and short. 3rd and 2. Throw and a catch. Nicely done by Givens, who takes the ball on the flank and turns upfield, going out of bounds at the Cleveland 12-yard line. A gain of 8 yards on the play.
Cleveland is trying to blitz Houston. It means man coverage all over the place. That time Mark Harper was out there with Ernest Givens, but couldn't really match up foot speed with him. Cleveland is trying to put as much pressure on Warren Moon as they can. The Houston offensive line doing a good job of keeping that blitz out.
Yes, they are. Rozier, although he was listed as a starter, has not run 1 time from scrimmage today. He was in for just 1 play that I can recall, Trump, and they had him flanked as a wide receiver.
Bad ribs.
And Allen Pinkett has carried the running load and very well as Moon from the shotgun throws a timing ball into the end zone, and it's not too long for Duncan. Curtis Duncan says he was pushed.
Frank Minifield, 31, the Pro Bowl cornerback, the man in coverage. On the line of scrimmage, you see the bump and run, and Duncan does a good job to get by Minifield. Can't really see much contact there, but receivers always lobby for contact.
Well, once again, it didn't work. Minifield will be going to the Pro Bowl again this year, as will the cornerback on the other side, Hanford Dixon of the Browns. 2nd down and 10, Oilers. They lead it 14-9 with under a minute to play in the first half. Moon, swing pass. Ball is caught by Pinkett. He lost it. Now they're ruling it incomplete. Fisher right there ruling he was bobbling the ball, did not have possession.
Don, they were trying another screen.
Juggling the ball, incomplete.
Larry Siemens says ball incomplete. They were trying another screen to try to avoid the pass rush. Now you'll watch the offensive lineman drift out. And then this ball should be caught. It looks like if Pinkett catches it cleanly, he can break to the outside all the way to the goal line. But he never gets control of the ball. This should be coming right at you. Pinkett should make this catch. That's right there. Never has control of it.
Big down here.
3rd and 10.
On the 18, Moon takes a look. That strong arm right into the arms of Felix Wright. So Wright again saves the day for the Cleveland Browns, this time in the end zone. Last week, Domingo Bryant intercepted Strock twice in the first half, and today they've turned the tide with Felix Wright, the standout safety for the Browns, picking off Warren Moon twice. So the Houston drive is stopped.
Moon should not have thrown this ball. It looks like he's going to Givens, 81, and Givens stops the pattern.
I could have caught that one. Felix Wright, a longtime nemesis, as you pointed out, Trump, of Warren Moon, dating back to when they were both in the Canadian Football League.
When Moon throws this, he knows, oh no, Givens, don't stop your pattern. Bring it back, please. Put a string on it. Make it a yo-yo. I didn't mean that one.
7th interception of the year for Felix Wright. 43 seconds to go now in the first half. And the Browns are going to collect themselves. To the dismay of their fans, they're not going to try to throw the ball downfield. Pagel has been instructed to run out the clock. Then we'll be going to NFL Live. As Warren Moon, obviously unhappy. He's got a tremendous touchdown to interception ratio. He has thrown this season, Warren Moon, 18 touchdown passes. That was his 9th interception. He's the only quarterback in the NFL with a 2-to-1 ratio in his favor. TDs to interceptions, but that one hurt. Not the Browns, though. It stopped the drive, and so we'll go to halftime with Houston after trailing 3-0, now leading 14-9. And the Browns, as they had to a week ago, forced to play from behind in the second half. NFL Live halftime activities will continue in a moment. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Trumpy back at Cleveland Stadium. Mike Pagel has been called on today to quarterback the Cleveland Browns. Trump, as we mentioned, was running scout team all week. He was playing Warren Moon, but he's thrown very well. Hit 6 of 8 for 59 yards, and he'll start out in the 3rd quarter. Cleveland gets the ball. Big drive.
Yeah, last week, of course, it was Don Strock and that miraculous come from behind victory, 16-7. They trailed at halftime, and Don Strock really got things done. But it does look like it's going to be in Mike Pagel's hands. And if Mike Pagel goes down, Brian Brennan is the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. So they're going to try to keep Mike Pagel as healthy as possible in this second half.
And as duly noted, Brian Brennan is a wide receiver. Zendejas, one of the famed kicking Zendejas brothers, ready to boom it off for the Houston Oilers. And this kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. McNeil and Young are back deep for the Cleveland Browns. The Browns forced to come from behind again this week on their home field if they can do it. Oilers as we go to the 3rd quarter kickoff. On the second hop, super fast Glenn Young turns the corner. And Young breaks it into open field and gets all the way out to the 40-yard line.
Oh, that's a big help, Don.
33-yard run back by Glenn Young.
That is a big help for this Cleveland offense. There's Mike Pagel's numbers in the first half. Came in cold. Time of possession pretty even. Turnovers last week at this time, Cleveland had 4. Houston had none. The rushing yards, not what they wanted. Both teams not really getting the ball or control of the line of scrimmage. So Cleveland's got to make good on its opportunities if they got a chance in this second half.
Browns have come from behind at halftime 3 of their last 4 games to win. Oilers haven't lost 2 games in a row in a season and a half. Kevin Mack on first down right at the Oiler defense, and he's across the 45-yard line. Inside backer Al Smith knocked him down.
Al Smith, considered one of the best linebackers this team has. He misreads. He goes to Biner, and Mack gets the football. And it looks like Al Smith is still on the ground. He is.
So while yet another injured player is attended to, there's this break.